Hey, everybody out there in podcast land. This is your host of Firecast, Severen Henderson, as presented by Department 3C. And today's episode is one with a fellow Chicago Fire Department member, Antwan Dobson. He's an officer on the department right now, going to rank up for another promotion. That's what he's studying for. And we just had an opportunity to sit down and talk about all things fire department. He has a amazing journey that he took to get to the fire department. We talk about that. He had a feature on CBS News where they talked about how he got on the fire department, some of the people he knows, some of the people he's met, and all of that information is just inside the podcast. It's a pretty good episode, if I do say so myself, and I hope you enjoy it. With that being said, and without further ado, please enjoy the episode with Antwan Dobson. Hey, everybody out there in podcast land. This is your host, Severen Henderson, with another episode of Firecast, hosted by me, Severen Henderson. I already said that. So today I'm doing a podcast with Antwan Dobson. Antwan, he reached out to me. He was like, hey, you got that super podcast going on. Let me get in on that. And we had already talked about doing it from before. We just didn't get the opportunity to link up. But this time we did. So I'm really happy about that. On top of that, he's going to do some writing for me on my blog. He knows it already, so it's not like a forced thing. He already knows what it's going to be.
I knew it about 5 seconds ago.
Okay.
No, I'm just playing. I'm kidding. Yeah, we did talk about it.
It's all good.
We did talk about it.
So without further ado, without hearing too much of me, Antwan, introduce yourself to the people. How are you today, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Antwan Dobson. I'm in my 18th year with Chicago Fire Department. I am a lieutenant paramedic, 5th District Relief, which means that I don't have a home. Or you can consider I have many homes.
Yeah,
so wherever
I
go, wherever I lay my head, that's my home for that particular platoon. How can I say? I came on the job as a single role paramedic. Crossed over about a year and some change later. I was on ambulance 10 when I first came on the job. Proud to say that was the busiest ambulance in the city, second busiest in the country. Mm-hmm. It's still kind of holding that rank, over 8,000 calls a year. Mm-hmm. Then I went to Engine 38, which at the time was between number 1 and number 2 busiest in the city on the west side. Born and raised in the west side as well.
Not just engine, but overall company.
Just overall. Engine, truck,
whatever.
38 was number 1. Between them and 116, it was always a battle.
Right.
Of being number 1 and number 2.
Right.
Of just runs, which is ridiculous, but it is what it is.
So, like you said, from the west side, born and raised. Talk to me more about that, please.
So, I born and raised on the west side of Chicago, Jackson, in California, Marillac House. Several Bulls players come out of like Marillac House to play ball. Matter of fact, part of the documentary on The Last Dance. Mm-hmm. With Michael Jordan, that outside court, mm-hmm. That's Marillac House right there on Jackson in California. Mm-hmm. Orlando Woodridge, mm-hmm. Isaiah Thomas, and mm-hmm. just to name a few. Foster kid, I wasn't a quote unquote warded to the state, but another family raised me. That's a whole nother story, which led me to the discovery of my love and passion for the fire service. Mm-hmm. So the way that got started was I was a kid in a summer camp. And one of the trips was to a firehouse, and I believe it was Engine 103, right on the South Loop, like Laughlin and Madison.
Yep.
And something just literally like an enigma. It just happened, like it just hit me. I'm like, wow. Mm-hmm. When I walked in the firehouse, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. It was more than just the average boy saying, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a fireman. No, yeah. I was like, no, this is for real, right?
Yeah.
So, lo and behold, when I got a little bit older, I found out that my aunt, who's now passed away, lived about 4 or 5 blocks from Engine 107. Mm-hmm. So she lived on the 700 block of South California. 107 is 1101 South California. Mm-hmm. So I used to, just walk down the street, hope, wishing, and praying, and I used to literally just look in the firehouse. It was summertime, the doors are up, but I never went in. I was kind of scared. And then one day, this engineer by the name of Mark Nielsen, he was an engineer assigned to 107 third shift. He was washing the rig, and he looks back at me and go, "Hey, you always walking around here. You want to come in?" I go, "Yeah." Yeah, I was hyped. I was thirsty.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for free.
Okay.
He threw a rag at me. There you go. I'm like, wait, what? And that's how you know that's the welcome to the fire service. You want to be part of us, you got to work your way in, right?
Exactly.
So I, helped him drive the fire engine. He was showing me around the fire engine. Let me, sit in the cab of the rig. And that time it was the 107 was an open cab Ford E1 with the stick shift.
Oh, okay.
So that's how far back.
Yeah.
I went. And I got to know the other shifts. I was hanging around, and I started hanging around second shift. Mm-hmm. So I can say it now because he's retired. So the first officer to let me ride a rig, I was what we call a fan. You're not supposed to let fans ride, but that's old school.
But it's old school.
Was Milt Davenport.
Okay.
His son is Dave Davenport, that you may or may not know.
Yes.
Captain who's about to retire.
Yep.
Next month. So he got to retire the same rank as his dad. His dad retired as a captain out of 120, I believe.
Okay.
Engine 120. So the way that happened was I was playing basketball on the apparatus floor. They got a run. They all ran to the rig, and I ran to the rig, but obviously I didn't get on. Mm-hmm. So he looks at me, and he looks in the back. He looks at me and looks in the back and said, "Get on the rig in the back. If you fall off, I don't know you." He said, "Get on back and sit down. If you fall off, I don't know you."
Yeah.
And I sat down, and you talk about you thought you died and went to heaven.
Yeah.
And that's when them rigs were loud as hell.
Yeah.
The engine, just, that's part of the whole.
It was menacing.
Yeah. And then the siren and the horn. I'm sitting there going, man, they get paid to do this?
Yes.
And the guy that was sitting next to me, the fireman, is by the name of John Brooks. That you may, he's a fireman at that time.
Yep, I heard of him too.
He ended up becoming the fire commissioner.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that just kind of solidified, this is what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So soon thereafter, Mark Nielsen gets promoted to lieutenant. He's first district relief. And we've always kept in touch. He gave me his phone number, and I've always knew how to find out where he was going as a reliever. Because at the time, you usually just called the front phone of the firehouse. First district at the time was Engine 42. Mm-hmm. So I said, "Hey, where's Lieutenant Nielsen?" And they tell me, "Okay." And he calls me one day and said, "Hey, you want to see how these guys really fight fires? Come to Engine 16. Mm-hmm. Now, I knew nothing about the South Side as far as the fire service. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't in the old 13th Battalion, where we know now as the 18th Battalion, I didn't think it existed. I'm like, ain't nobody doing nothing besides the West Side Firemen,
Yeah.
Come to 16. Well, I don't know if you know what 16 used to be.
Is it where it's at now? Well, no. Not where it's at now, but it's an old house over there.
4005 South Dearborn.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yep.
So that was when the projects were up and running.
Yeah, because now it's all vacant lots.
It's all vacant lots or new construction.
That's
Town
a little
home.
further north.
No, it's actually right in the same parking lot.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Right next to it.
Right across the street.
Because
right
some of the
next
people
door.
who live there are parking in the old firehouse parking lot.
Yes,
you're right.
Exactly.
Yes.
But
let me
go ahead.
interject one thing. That's like, it won't be a secret anymore, but I want to buy that house because it's in the perfect place area.
Firehouse?
Yes, it's
call General Services. The fire department don't own the firehouse. They call General Services or call the alderman. And there are some people who have become private owners of old firehouses.
Yeah, that one right there, it'd be perfect for me. One. It's kind of centerish of the city. You close to the expressway.
A lot of black history of black firefighters come out of that house. There used to be, I think, a double engine house or a squad in that house. But it's a lot of, between that house and Engine 19, is a lot of black history, particularly Chicago Fire Department black history come out of the house. There's a reporter, if you may recall, his name was Russ Ewing. Yeah. Russ Ewing used to be a fireman.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Out of Engine 16's house.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can go all day talking about not just fire department history, but Chicago history, man. I'm a big Chicago history buff. It's ridiculous.
That's what I wanted you for. So that's part of the reason.
So I go to Engine 16, and you talk about a culture shock, man. Them boys fought fires a different way.
Yeah.
So projects were high rises, but they didn't have high-rise amenities, like, I don't know, a standpipe.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, something you fight fires with. It's like, nah, you throwing this sucker out the window in the apartment next door or out the balcony, and that engineer got to know what he or she is doing, and you get down.
And that's what I was about to ask you, because in my book I wrote about old stuff that's used as actual stuff. Like for instance, in the projects, I always heard that they used to have a bowling ball attached to a string, because when they would get
for the incinerators,
for the incinerators, and then knock the fire down, they would drop the bowling ball, pick it up, drop it again, things like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So that actually happened. That's true.
Yeah. If you want to talk to a current member who fought those fires, Captain Rayford of Engine 63 was a fireman in Engine 16.
Okay.
When it was the real 16.
The real 16.
Yeah, I should say the real. I don't want no disrespect to the new 16, but the original Engine 16. He was a fireman.
Well,
there.
no, I mean, places develop. They change, gentrification, everything. That just happens. That's life. So no, it's no shade at all, because guess what? They still there doing the job.
Yes, they are.
They have their opportunities to fight for. They're just not project high-rise fires anymore.
Right. And the dynamic of that house used to run hard.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it just went slow.
Yeah.
When they started knocking down the projects and everything, it just fell off. Like this is like unrecognizable slow. Like you go from 15 to 20 a day to 2 to 3 a day.
Yeah.
And then when they built the new house, it's back up in, I think, in the top 15, 20 rigs in the city. It's like what happened?
What happened?
Like
right.
what happened?
Yeah.
See, that'd be a really good study to look at, actually, if I had some time, to be like, what happened?
I'm always interested about that. I just had an opportunity to go to the OEMC. We got to visit.
Cool.
And actually, just by luck of the draw, working, I got to see the airport, OEMC, and then a couple of days on my own shift, I got to see our regular OEMC. And just seeing how they go about their business is just so interesting. Just how they figure out where to place rigs, put rigs in, who goes on what, why they going on what they would like to hear, what they don't really need is just really cool. So,
right.
Like you said, that history there would be great to see why the numbers change so much.
Oh yeah. And then you have some houses that never change. Some houses that was always been slow, always gonna be slow. Yeah. Right. It's just
Chicago, a big city.
Engine 122 was like that. Engine 122, number one right now.
Yeah.
Back then, they were nowhere near number one.
Well, because of what the neighborhood was like. Chatham was not really doing nothing. People was over there.
It was a middle class, working class, African American community, and it was just, it was a different feel, a different community, a different culture over there. Yeah. And then it seems like overnight they go from doing 2, 3, 4, 5 runs a day to they're popping average 17 to 18 runs a day.
And I have my theories as to why, but I don't want to say this is the reason why.
Right.
But I just kind of feel like a lot of those people passed away. When they passed away, they kind of gave their houses to other people, other family members, and just not having to do anything other than be in the crib just kind of makes you not really take care of the crib. And it just kind of deteriorated from there. Like I said, that's just my opinion. I don't have anything to back that up. So.
Oh yeah.
So back to 16.
Yeah, so 16.
Nielsen told you to go to 16.
He said come to 16, and I met, met some new firemen, met some new friends. Then I went to the ultimate, which is something you will appreciate. He went to Squad 1. Now, he used to go to the squad a lot. Mark, that's when Squad 1 used to run out of Engine 5's house.
Yep.
And the truck used to run out of Engine 18's house
18,
when 18 was on Roosevelt.
Yep.
And he put me in a basket, and I'm like, man, this is high. I'm like, man, this is high as hell. I was like, man, we over the street lights almost. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Man, I wanted to go higher.
I was good. I was going to the roof line, maybe. I was like, I'm good. That dude was like, we can go all the way up. I'm like, man, this before the song, all the way up. I was like, no, I'm like, man, this is crazy. But But it was cool, man. You know, running. That's what Squad 1 used to cover the entire West Side. Squad 2 did not cover the West Side at that time.
We're trying to.
But I can tell you the politics of why that happened. Well, the guy that was the captain of Squad 2 is now a big boss. Yeah. So I think he can whatever now. Yeah. You know, he was friends with another assistant deputy fire commissioner, and
Hey, when we were at the OEMC, we were asking, hey, how did this change from this to this to that to the other? The story's kind of.
Chief, he's retired now, so Chief Fox had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
And another guy I won't name because he's still on the job, but yeah, it was. I got it from the horse's mouth on how that changed. Yeah. And they didn't want to throw Squad 7 a bone. Out of O'Hare, they're like, man, this ain't, no, we could take care of all of that. They're there, but they're like, no, come on, that's too far. Yeah. Like, they want to go west of Manheim. Man, you on Pulaski. Like, we can handle it, know.
Yep. Well, you know how we do. We take, and not just
Squad
Truck
29 motto on second shift. What did my old officer say? He says, we could be second truck anywhere. We'll try to be first.
Yep. That was how I learned how to drive.
Second truck anywhere, we'll try to be first.
Yep. I'm disappointed, just mad, because I was off on a detail. These dudes, furthest west house you can be in the city, went all the way to the lake and had a save at the lake. They just had a change of quarters, went all the way over to the lake.
Truck 29?
Yeah. When JB was still there as the captain, and they went all the way over there, got a rescue award and everything else. And,
wow.
And I'm off that day. I was, oh man, that hurt my feelings.
I don't know if they still do this, but a lot of West Side truck companies change quarters downtown. Truck 36. When I was at Truck 36, we went to Truck 6 once, and we stayed at Truck 3 or 4 times on the chain, and Truck 1 once.
Yeah, Truck 36 is, and that's another thing that's so crazy about the city, and they determine who's going to be like a big change truck. Because Truck 29 didn't change that often. We changed one time, and everybody looked at me mad. I'm like, well, what'd I do?
Right.
You the candidate, and we got to go somewhere because of you.
Like it's your fault.
Right? And I'm like,
it's like they're trying to get you work.
I don't even know what a change of quarters is. So, right, I understand exactly what you're saying as far as how, but Truck 29 didn't change that often. But some trucks, like Truck 26, now they the busiest truck. Now they just a change truck, or no, they're the rich truck.
They're the rich truck.
They're the rich truck of life. They just go rich.
Well, quite as kept. Engine 38 was a big change company.
Okay,
and I didn't know that. An old timer. Mike Manchester was a relief lieutenant over there before he retired. Well, he was a captain, actually, when he retired. He told me, he says, on the cover of the computer, where the printer and stuff is, it was like these stickers, and they had like a quarter, a nickel, a penny. He go, you know what that is? I go, no, I just look like a penny quarter. He goes, is it Change Company?
Change Company.
He said, see, you got to talk to the old timer.
Yeah.
It is so cool talking to old timers, because when they're not afraid to say they're an old timer, and especially when they think they're teaching a young buck like me, that makes them feel like purposeful.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And I love talking to these old folks, man. These old timers. They give you a nugget, and you be like, okay, okay. And even even my tactics, just history.
Yes.
History, and it make you appreciate, like we were saying about our friend Vinny. He says almost every podcast, someone's always talking about the strike. The strike comes up in almost every because we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for those brothers and sisters who walk that picket line.
Absolutely.
Brotherhood of the Barrel, man. So we have a lot of debt to pay to them people, and was very heroic about it, not just because we got a contract out of it, but there are stories where they would find out there's a structure fire nearby. They would stop, walking the picket line, get in their cars, go to the fire, make a save, put it out, and then go back to striking.
To the picket line. Yep.
Go back to striking.
Now, how real is that? That's just
if that ain't dedication, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
I don't know what is. And I used to live on the 600 block of North Ridgeway. If you stood on my porch and looked to the right, that's Engine 85's old firehouse. That was the first engine to the Arlington Angels fire. Well, we lost, I believe, 92 children and 3 adults. December 2nd, 1958.
Yep.
And that was one of the houses where it used to be a courtyard. I should say courtyard, a multi-story, multi-unit apartment building right there on the corner of Ridgeway and I think it was that Ohio, where they had a fire. Mm-hmm. They were picketing, saw they had a fire, dropped their picket line and stuff, got whatever tools they had, went across the street, put the fire out, and came back. Dude, this. And so you think about that, and then you listen to the stuff that we griping about now. It's kind of like, we don't have any problems.
That's what
right?
know. They a lot of guys have the saying, "I never had a bad day on this job."
Right,
and they
say some are better than others, but I never had a bad day on this job.
Right, some are better than others, but I never had a bad day, and I feel kind of the same way. Just
there's a lot about the attitude and perspective.
A lot of stuff we complain and gripe about. Isn't stuff that we need to complain and gripe about. And the things we do need to complain and gripe about, we just comfortable with sometimes. That saying that 150 years of tradition impeded by progress, or I wish we could do things a little more new, but one day when I get up there, I'll shake some stuff up.
I'll remind you. I'll be answer to you.
No, I got a little ways to go. I got a lot of ways to go. But tell us more about. So, one of the things that I do want to mention in this podcast, I just want to piggyback on the fact that you had the CBS 2, the special. They got to talk with Mark Nielsen on camera.
Right.
Talked about how, like, you were walking past the house and everything, just kind of, came in and they started taking care of you, checking your grades, all that other kind of fun stuff. So you are pretty much raised in the culture of a firehouse.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. What differences do you think come about now as opposed to when you were pretty much being raised in the firehouse?
The differences between now and then is pride. I think that has kind of went away from what it used to be to what it is now. Those guys really cared about the fire service. They cared about the firehouse. They cared about the fire engine. They cared about, a lot of the things that today you don't see that. I think respect. Is a thing that's kind of, that's kind of falling off by the wayside too. And I almost kind of want to say training, but back then they had a lot more fires, and so the ego will kick in, like, what are we training for? We do this for real on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about that. That doesn't mean it couldn't be a little bit more efficient, maybe a little bit whatever. But the fire was out, no one got hurt. So in their book, they were efficient enough, right?
Yeah.
Not to us, but now when fires are down, can we still say that? I don't know, you know. So, and then obviously you got the political aspect of things where some things you just can't say
or do.
You can't say or do anymore. That used to be welcome. You have a lot more ladies in the fire service now. We are garnering more men and women, and that's of the LBGT community. So you gotta be sensitive to their to their feelings and respect their their feelings and respect their decisions and whatever that may be. So now if you talk to some of the old school guys, they'll call us soft and so on and so forth. Sissy boys, right? And to a certain respect, I get that.
Yeah.
But in another respect, it was needed.
Yeah.
Some changes needed. I think some things shouldn't have never changed. I'll always have a love for those older firehouses. Even the single engine. It's just something about the character of those firehouses that these new ones just can never come close to. So my favorite ones are kind of like the middle ground, like the ones I built that were like I think in the 60s or 70s, the split level, like the engine 107, engine 26, 117,
26,
116, like those houses, not too new, not too old, it's just right in the middle.
Yeah, I got you. On that. Yep.
So those are some of the changes. You know, when you got different commissioners, you know, they got different visions and they have different agendas.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know, remember that one commissioner would have came with a 20-page uniform order. It's like, really?
Yeah.
You know, took the shorts away. You know, everything was short sleeves. It's like what?
Took the white shirts away.
Took the white shirt. Now that I didn't like that.
I still don't like that.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
And that's not ego. I think the supervisor, the boss, whatever you want to say, need to look distinguishable amongst the men because they are, you know, when you're on scene, people don't know what our ranks are.
Right.
The crowd, you know, the public, the crowd.
They just
everyone
see a
know the
fireman.
white shirt is a supervisor.
Yep.
That is a common knowledge. He's a white shirt.
Yep.
That must be the supervisor.
Yep.
You know, I heard the theory was on a battleground. That's the reason why, you know, lieutenant colonels and commanders were the same because the enemy don't know who's what. Well, we're not in the battleground per se.
No, I mean, yeah,
per se, we're not. But it's like, come on. You know?
That kind of speaks to me of when we changed. The one color I do like now is the candidate shirts that have the orange writing. I mean, they're still blue, but they had the orange writing to kind of let you know. But we had candidates that were wearing the light blue shirt, and then they said, no, they can't wear them shirts because they look like police officers. Right. And so they came out with gray. And then after gray, now they have the navy, but with the orange writing. So I do agree with that. But like you said, we're not on a battleground to that extent where, like you said,
they try to take the head out,
take
the leader out, and then so that the rest of the team will fall.
Don't know what to do.
Right.
Yeah, nah. And then I done been in fires with an officer who went down, the firemen just keep on working right along. Because, I mean, you know what you're doing. You're some things you don't need direction on how to do. A lot of things you do.
Right.
But some things you should be able to conduct and do on your own.
And see, and I have the privilege and the experience of both big town city, Chicago Fire Service, and small suburbia. You know, so we work in Chicago, which is just under 3 million, and I worked in a town that was just barely over 5,000. And you talk about night and day. Yeah, it is night and day, but the fire still burn the same way.
Yep.
Fire science is still the same.
Yep.
Building construction is still the same. But you don't get the same manpower. You don't have the same equipment.
Yep.
It is much respect to the suburban fires because, in our reality, they do the same thing we do with a fraction of the people.
Yes.
On our force, still, we got nothing under 20 guys on the scene.
Right. We got guys that.
I mean, even if every company on a variance except for the squad, you still got 20 firefighters. Yep. In a single story, in a 1.5 story bungalow. Yep. Out there, and for you to get 20 guys, you almost got 15 pieces of equipment because you're averaging 2, sometimes 2 guys per rig.
Right. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
My old department from back home, we had a truck company that was just 2 people, and then we had the ambo. We called them squads back then, but they would meet up from wherever they were out doing the run.
And marry the truck.
And meet up with the truck. Then you would have 4. But if they on full arrest, hey, we got to re-get all the stuff, and we might miss that. Right. So you got 2 people just getting the truck there. And that's so dangerous in some aspects, but to this day, nobody's got hurt.
Some of the suburbs, they don't prioritize vertical ventilation.
Right.
One, they don't have the manpower.
We didn't have the manpower. So we would do horizontal ventilation. Like those fans that we just got now.
Those are PPV fans?
Yeah, we had those, and we would put them at the front door. After we found the fire, put most of the fire out, then we would open up all the windows and pressurize the house. But no vertical ventilation.
If I'm not mistaken, I think New York first truck they don't go to the roof.
Yeah.
I think that second truck do, if need be.
Yeah. A lot of places are getting away from that. And I can see from some of the safety aspect, but I feel like
if the fire's not on the top floor, do you really need, if you got a 2 or 3 story, right? If you got a 2 or 3 story structure, the fire's on the first floor, why are we making a roof?
Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like that's kind of handicapping us as firefighters. It's like giving us, it's like saying we're not good enough to do our job in some aspects. I understand the safety point, and I'm with safety all day, all night. We can talk safety to death. But I feel like saying it's kind of like you handicapping the police now with some of the stuff that's going on in the city. Like they're not allowed to chase and do things like that. Right.
And that's when the politics comes in, and now you got issues.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, that's so what was I? So I was at Engine 16. A paramedic by the name of Phil Mastriano said, "Hey, what do you think about this ambulance stuff?" Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to get on anything that was going out the door. Right?
I was
like, yeah, that's good. I want it, man. If you're going out the door, I want to be on it. You licensed siren, I want to be on it. So I wrote at ambulance 35.
Okay.
And so he said, listen, take my name. Now, this is when, how can I put this? This is when I found out what name dropping and having some clout and having a phone call made. But I didn't know it at the time. At the time, I was just doing what I was told.
Yeah.
So I went to Malcolm X College. I went and saw this guy, he says, and he was specific. I'd never forget it. Talked to this guy only. He said, do you understand me? I went, yes. Okay. I'm like, why is he so...
Do you
but
hear
I
the
get
words
it
that are coming out of my mouth?
Right. So I went and talked to that guy.
Yeah.
And I did and said exactly what he told me. And I remember like it was yesterday, Sev, that dude looked up at me and said, oh, so you one of those guys. And I didn't know what he meant. This is a white guy saying this to me, and I'm thinking, is he?
What's that supposed to mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but he looked at me and laughed. And I think I said something, well, what are you talking about? And he said to me, you'll understand later. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. Next thing I was registered for EMT.
Okay.
And, so I was in high school. Mm-hmm. I wasn't even supposed to, one of the requirements is high school
graduate, yeah.
I was a senior. Mm-hmm. So that was a call, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So here I am doing my schoolwork barely. I was studying for EMT.
Yeah.
Right? I had my EMT book, and, and later on, my English instructor told me she knew exactly what I was doing, and she couldn't, on the surface, okay it, but she said she was proud of me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome.
Miss Wilcliffe, I went to Hubbard High School, and she says, I knew exactly. She said, I saw the book. Mm-hmm. She said, I knew you weren't doing your work. I knew you had somebody else doing the work, but I knew you were going to end up being something, and I just let it ride. So I gave you a hard time, because I was supposed to, but I knew you were going to make it. Mm-hmm. And that was really heartwarming, right? Mm-hmm. So I go to EMT school. I was late. I wasn't driving yet. I was late to the state exam, so I couldn't take it. Then I made another appointment. Failed the first test. I'm like, is this for me or what? So I got in a third time, because the first time I was late. The second time I failed. The third time I passed.
Okay.
So now work on the privates. Then, I went to paramedic school. I went to Highland Park paramedic program. Mm-hmm. Put my name on the list like everybody else. And then 9 years later, I came on the private department.
9 years later?
9 years.
Wow.
I think it was 9 years later, right? Yeah. I got my license, and I got my medic license in 96. I got hired in 05.
That is some time to hang out. That's what's up.
Oh, yeah.
That's some real life dedication.
I worked 12 years on the privates total.
Okay.
2 or 3 as an EMT, the other 9 was as a paramedic.
Okay, well that's stellar. To kind of hang out for that long. I know a lot of people talk about how long they had to wait for the job to come through and everything else, and you like really, really, really waited the time and got it going. So that's great to hear. Now, you said you started off on 10. 10, yeah, super busy. West Side, and you kind of knew where you was going and everything. Then hold on. You only had to do a year and some change before you crossed. These dudes now like at 5 years.
I was lucky because there was so for the longest. All right, so you remember. So there's a misnomer out there for some people. Crossovers still have to take the entrance exam.
Yes.
Like everybody else.
Yes.
There is this misnomer that crossovers didn't even have to take the test.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So I want to dispel that.
Yes.
Every crossover paramedic have taken and passed the entrance exam like everybody else. Mm-hmm. You just placed essentially on 2 lists. Right. The civilian list like everybody else, and a crossover list.
Yes.
Right? So whichever came first is the one you took. Mm-hmm. So I came on in 2005, right? The test that we took to get on the job was when? 95.
Right.
So that list was already 10 years old.
Yeah.
So they were already crossing over people for 10 years. And they gave that next firefighters exam, I think the next year. So by the time I came on, they were at the bottom of that crossover list.
Okay.
So it was, in reality, had I crossed over at my first opportunity, had I not got hurt at the academy, I would have only done 9 months on the ambulance.
Okay. Wow.
It was several of us, my classmates. So I got hurt. I went back on the ambulance for 3 months, and I went back in the next fire class. My last day on as a single row medic was Easter Sunday, 2006.
Okay.
And that was on ambulance 30. Had a beautiful day. Got my ass kicked that night. So that's why it was only a year. The longest time I known somebody the cross, I believe, was Keith Gansel. He ended up retiring as a lieutenant, I think, at Tower 14. He did 17 years on an ambulance.
Yep, I remember seeing his sheet.
Good dude and in excellent shape.
Yeah.
And he used to say he was in the projects on the ambulance. He said, I used to love eating a big spaghetti dinner and then got to climb up to the 10th and 14th floor on an ambulance call, work that cardio. I go, man, you crazy. I'd be throwing up, man. I believe Keith Gansel did about 7, if I'm not mistaken, if memory serves me correct, he did 17 years before he crossed over.
Yep, he was on the third shift, like you said, Tower 14 when I was in the 13th. Now 18th.
Yeah, I still can't get my head wrapped around it.
Yeah, I remember the chief at the time when it happened. Oh my goodness, he didn't know what to do with his.
On your shift?
No, on the second shift.
Oh, that was
Timothy.
Mike Timothy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
his son's on the job now.
I know.
Truck 26.
I have a story about him.
His son?
Yeah, not a bad story. It's just a cool story. Just
it's like a ring, like Sean O'Neal had his kid, his kids was out. I mean, it was, Mark Nielsen got his, I should say their kids are on the job. They got it themselves,
Yeah,
Mike Timothy in it. So it is, I mean, hey,
man,
it's like
awesome.
they say, if you can't take care of your family,
who else can you take care of?
Who can you take care of, man?
No, I mean, I wish I would have had that, and I hope to be able to do the same thing for my son one day if that's what he chooses to do.
Right.
But I remember I went to a fire, and it's this kid running around.
In the fire building?
In the fire building. While we putting out the fire.
That used to be me, Sal.
And I know, that's
I had
what I'm
gear,
saying.
Man. That used to be me.
And I see him, and I'm like, who is that? Oh, that's the geez. Oh, okay. Later on, it was after I left the academy, but I saw him, and I saw his name. I'm like, oh, I know this dude. I know him, but he don't know me. So,
right.
But it was all good. And just getting that experience for you is just so awesome. You remind me a lot of the guy who gave me my first shot, my first chief. And all he used to tell me about was fire stories from Cleveland. How he used to ride on the back of the rig. He used to walk by every day. Hey, let me in. All this other stuff. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see.
And
then the fact
you said that backstab, that reminded me of a story with Milt Davenport. We were checking hydrants. And you know what we do, what we, let me say, what we used to do, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You rode the back step because with the pain, getting in and out the rig.
Yeah.
So this one particular time is Milt Davenport, myself, and battalion chief named Chief Malahi. He was the 4th Battalion, and he just so happened to be in the area. And he gets on the back step. It was always been illegal to do it, right?
Yes.
And so we're bouncing up and down, and the chief looks at Milt Davenport and gonna say, we shouldn't be back here. And Milt said, we're back here now, chief.
Right. Whoa.
It's like he's saying, we shouldn't be back here, but he's back there with him because he remember when he was a fireman, probably in the 60s.
Yeah.
And 70s, right? So that's why it's good to get these chiefs who still got somewhat their foot on the ground, who understand the rules. I mean, you at least educate your men about the rules, but you also don't forget where you come from.
That's the thing.
Don't forget where you come from.
Don't forget where you came from.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm still a medic. I mean, I would never. That's something I work for myself. Still got my medic license. I don't use it so much in the city, but when it's time to get down, I just started an IV like a couple weeks ago on a patient we had, an overdose patient. And the thing is, the one FPM didn't know me. her partner there, we worked on the privates together, so she knew I was a medic. So, and I had the field chief there, who I worked with on ambulance 15, J.D. Giovanni.
Okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So him and I worked together a couple of times. So she couldn't get the line. I get down there and I said, "Hand me an 18," and she looked at me.
Like, who
and
is this dude?
I said, "Hand me an 18 gauge." And she handed me a tourniquet. I said, "I don't need a tourniquet. Just give me an 18 gauge." And she look at her partner. Her partner then she just
give him the 18.
Give me the 18. Right? So give me the 18. Got a line, and then I said, "Hey, give me the Narcan." And then her partner was being funny. She said, "Did you get it?" I said, "Are you serious?" She said, "I'm sorry, Lou. We're not used to lieutenants getting down there." And then her partner was like, "I didn't know." And then the chief's like, "Yeah, Antwan, we spent some time with that ambulance together." She said, "Oh, I didn't know you were a medic. We're not used to that." And I go, "Hey, it's time this man wasn't breathing."
Right.
It's all hands on deck, man.
Exactly.
You got a paramedic license. That's what we're here to do, save the people, man. So
got to get in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why, I went to school. That's the reason why, some of the administration of it, I don't agree with. That's why I'm like, okay, let me step out of this program. But when it's time,
you still got to do what the state.
Right. I'm still doing what I'm licensed to
allows
do.
you to. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. It's a good tool to have, man.
I know all too well. So
right. That's right. That's right. Truck Twin has the ALS, so I'm sure you've seen a thing or two or three.
Yeah, we was, yeah. So just leave it at that.
Right.
So now you're to the point. You're a lieutenant on the job. You're in the 5th district, a great place. Like I said, it's no really bad place to be. But you down there with a few more fires and everything else.
I was an engineer too. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I skipped over that part.
No, that's all right. No, all good.
Not give you your engineer flowers. So
yeah, engineer for just under 3 years, and then I was promoted April of last year.
Okay. And now you study some more. Study some more on top of all of that. Because like you told me, you said, I'm trying to be on the first page.
First page, trying to be number one.
I'm with that. I am all the way with that. That's what I was like for lieutenant. They looking at me like I was crazy. No, I'm getting it in on this studying. So, one thing that you always say, and I see you say online, is that some of the rules are so not redundant, and not repetitive, but contradictory. They contradict each other.
Oh my God, that drives me crazy.
So, just what would be something you would do to kind of right that ship if you could?
Well, first I would. And I hate comparing us to that one other city that's just east of us. Yes, on the coast.
That's big.
That's real big.
Yeah,
like number 2 in the country.
Yeah,
you got their letters FD and Y on the side of their rigs. Yeah. But they have a research and development team of about, I think, 10, 12, 15 people. Mm-hmm. We have 2, maybe 3, and they're not really doing R&D per se. What needs to be done is someone needs to scour our entire catalog of directives, like really page by page, and edit, delete, take out, do whatever you got to do, but it needs to be somewhat totally. So like when you go to a home and you rehab a home, right? You still need a sink, you still need a bathroom, whatever, but it's updated. Mm-hmm. You still need the essentials. We still need general orders. We still need the operations orders on us, but it just need to be updated.
Yes,
right. It needs to be updated. Why the hell are they putting on our source reading materials for promotional exams on training bulletins that was written in 1988?
No,
it's still on there.
It's still on there.
Something like the boss tool. Why are we talking about the boss tool? Why are we talking about blocking chains? Yes. It's like, first of all, it's on no one's inventory. Did you have that in Truck 29?
No.
You probably still had it, but it wasn't being used, right?
No.
Right. Some stuff is this cute, like the shepherd hook.
Yes.
I mean, okay, right. It's the chain is 12 inches long. Don't ask me how I still remember that.
It's all good.
All that nonsense.
You know how to wrap the rope properly. And then
on the work rope,
yes,
on the 2 pipes that come out, perpendicular to the wall.
Yep,
I know how to do that. That was a big Mark Nelson thing.
That's an order as well.
Yeah, it is an order. That's an order about why the genesis of the green and red lights from the firehouses and on the rigs.
Yes. Yep.
About Commissioner Albright, because I think his family owned a shipping company.
Shipping company.
Yeah.
Like the red and
port
green.
in Starboard or whatever. I'm like, wow.
Yep. It's an order on marking tarps, even though that's something we still do and supposed to do.
The salvage covers?
Yes.
Yep.
It's
12 by 18, 14 by 18.
See, look at that. Ooh. But
wash with cold water.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. It's
nonsense,
but somebody needs to, like you said, go through
right.
that.
They need to kind of go through it and, really put some, give it a good solid year. Because to do it right, you probably need a solid year. And if you got like 5 solid guys, smart guys who not gonna just want to get go down there for the bump and pay and for the white shirt and whatever, or just want to duck the firehouse. No, some really, probably some academics, probably some nerd guys who like to read this stuff. You do general orders, you do operations order, you do special directors or whatever. The only thing that's updated are the SOPs.
Yes.
And that came about because we were forced to
federal,
do it.
yeah.
We were forced to do that, I believe.
Yes.
I forgot what incident where they were like, you guys don't have SOPs? Okay, you guys need SOPs.
Yeah.
It's like, so SOPs are pretty good, but yeah, so and I'll go back and forth and I say his name because he knows I tease him all the time. It was retired Deputy Fire Commissioner Les Noy. He wrote some of that stuff. You see me, I tag him all the time. I text him and go, I'm gonna get you on this one.
Why is this?
Right.
Yeah.
And he'll give me some political answer if you see that, or he'll say, I didn't write that one.
Yeah.
I didn't write that one. And I go, why do I need to know the TIC camera can read 1/8 inch below water? Why do I need? I said, who measured that?
Yeah, you're right. Who put the ruler in the water and said, I can't see this no more?
And I'm sure that came from the manufacturer. I'm sure.
Yeah, the manual. Right,
from the manual, or whatever. But it's just, when I get frustrated, I just,
Well, we bring that out on the water incidents, and we got to check the water.
Right, you do it like right on the spot, right?
Yep.
And the big controversy is, how many times do you turn a hydrant?
It's 13.
How many times? It's written as high as 13 and as low as 8.
Yeah.
The answer is 8.
Okay. I knew 13. Don't turn it no more than that, because if you do, it's going to drop off and drop down.
Right. So it's 8. That's the correct answer.
I just turned it enough to get water. But you know what? I'll tell this story, and then we'll get ready to get you out of here.
No,
but
take your time. I got time.
I was the medic on Truck 29 for forever. I never got to go anywhere because I was the medic on Truck 29.
Right.
I downgraded to be an EMT with the city, and so now I'm getting thrown into the detail pool. I go to 95 for my first detail.
Wait, you downgraded your status?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just with the city.
Right.
So I go to 95, my first detail. I haven't made a hydrant other than
since the academy.
Since the academy.
And they put you on the hydrant.
And that about 8-9 years, and they put me on the hydrant. I almost drowned myself trying to make this hydrant because they had a fire going for real, and I didn't do something right. I don't think I put the threads on. I cross-threaded it, and that water was just spraying me. It was killing me, and I held my breath and made sure that I got them that water to that fire, but I almost drowned myself doing it. So
that'd have been a hell of a line of duty death.
Yeah.
How you went? Was he inside? No, he was at the hydrant. What? No, I can imagine reading that obituary. Yeah. Oh my God!
Like I said, I held my breath and just put my face in there. And I said, "Well, it's water," and I was in there. So, but that's my fault. That's part of that thing that we was talking about, that training and everything else. But
so when people ask me about how did you become a fireman and why did you, I say when people say living the dream, one of the things we always say in the fire department is just living the dream. And we say it half sarcastically, like tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
That is a literal sentiment. And I mean it wholeheartedly when I say I am literally living a childhood dream.
Yeah. That's
awesome. I'm blessed to say that because not many people could say that.
Yeah.
A lot of us are going to work to earn a living. Mm-hmm. Not many of us like the quote Oprah Winfrey, but she says, if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
I don't know if she came up with that, but that's the first person I heard. If you do something you love, you never work a day in your life.
And that's something I feel like we got to instill a bit more into our younger generation of firefighters.
Yeah, man, Sev is falling off. So you got Chicago, obviously, but then you got your other realms of fire service. So like Orland Park Fire Department, Fire Protection District is considered one of the top tier departments outside the city.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to have a couple thousand show up to their exams. I know the chief very well. He told me I think they had 85. 85. And they hired 15. I think he told me 12 to 15 right away.
Oh my God.
Some departments I've told nobody showed up.
Wow.
One department, someone told me 10 people. It's like, whoa, what is going? And the paramedic shortage is even worse.
Not
worse.
Just us. And I gotta say it for we abuse our paramedics.
Yeah.
This city, they abuse paramedics. A lot of it is legal, not even political, just straight legal reasons why paramedics get abused. And I remember I was working with Tom Kalicki. Where is it? Kalicki. He passed away.
Kalicki.
I worked with him. He was from Cleveland too, and he knew a bunch of old Cleveland history. And he was a paramedic here, and I got a chance to work with him on Ambulance 23. It was a great day. Not because we were slow or anything. It was 23, but
right.
He was just really good guy to talk to, pick his brain and everything else. And I said, I think medics should only work 12-hour shifts, kind of like how they did Cleveland EMS and fire are different entities. And they don't work 12, they work 10. They work something different. Point is, I said, because, after a certain time, you're not even conscious anymore.
They said, like, truck drivers can drive no more than, 16 hours straight at a time. Because then they say you are operating you're under the influence because you're just that tired.
And that's what I'm saying
and here we
about
are doing
the medics.
Every better 24 hours.
And they doing 2 24s because if they get mandatory, they go on 48, off 48, 48, off 48. And they get abused.
Hammered.
In a way that's not.
But you got to have the rigs and search. So it's kind of at a management standpoint, because I try to look at things from both lenses.
Yes, absolutely.
Obviously, I'm going to look at the lens of the rank and file because that's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I also try to look at it as a manager because that's what I aspire to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, before you start pointing the finger, what kind of predicament are they in?
Mm-hmm.
Do you just start downing ambulances?
Right. What you going to do?
What's the alternative, right?
Yeah.
The only alternative, in my opinion, is you probably got to start downgrading fire companies.
Yeah. Well, I think they got to hire more.
But they don't have more to hire.
And they don't have more to hire. But I feel like Chicago's still a great enough city where they can put out a nation. That's how I got here. A nationwide call. Hey, come take this test.
I told one particular former commissioner, not the current, I said, I said something similar to that. I said, what you should do is go to the department. And he said, I'll have every fire chief in the Chicago metropolitan area hate me if I did that, because you'd be stealing.
Well, forget
their
Chicago.
medics.
I'm talking about go from here to California, here to Montana, here to North Dakota, here out south to Texas. I'm just saying, send recruitment trips and like a nationwide call. Hey, we are looking for people. We are actively hiring. Chicago's not broke. It's cranes all over the sky. Before COVID hit, we were the #1 tourist destination in the United States, one of the top in the world.
Right.
And that's dollars coming in. And I still drive up and down Michigan Ave. I can't get nowhere because there's traffic everywhere, but I see a ton of people outside. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
they didn't make some changes. They don't want to get rid of residency because
that's going to poop the housing market.
Well, the housing and this revenue period I was told from because I'm a speechwriter as well on the side. I'm gonna do some political consulting. Mm-hmm. This one political candidate told me, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago or so, where the middle class in Chicago was 50%. Mm-hmm. Now it's down to 15%. Mm-hmm. And half of that 15 are city workers.
Oh, yep.
So half of your middle class, half of your entire middle class are city workers. So imagine if you let them city workers that are bound to be in Chicago, you let them out. We'll have a problem.
Yes.
That would be a financial problem if that statistic is true. And I said, okay, now that I see why they don't want to.
Oh, no, I wouldn't want to get rid of it either. I'd be holding on to it for dear life. But
What do we do, right?
Exactly. What do you do? So a lot of things need to change. And I'm reading a few books about leadership and everything. And one of the biggest things that I emphasize is don't just come up with problems and say this is wrong. Come up with a solution. At least one. At least say, this is broke, but maybe we can fix it like this. Your answer could be wrong as ever, but at least come up with something.
Right.
So,
do you ever sit back and think about, how long you've been on the job and think about the unfortunate how many line of duty deaths that you have witnessed as far as, since you've been on a job, and how many firehouses have closed and how many new units? It's really something. I sit back and think about that, and I'm proud to say that I was assigned to Truck 24 before they became Tower 24, when they were the last single truck
in the city. Yeah,
that's, to me, that was like, okay, that's dope.
That is dope.
That's
and
dope.
The kitchen was upstairs. How real is that?
No engine, no engine. You had an ambo. Ambo was 29.
Yep.
And that was probably, arguably, my best assignment. It was Truck 24. We got all those fires and rolls in second truck, the Truck 27. But yes, yeah, man. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Truck 24 and Truck 36, man. I went back and forth between the south side and west side. I still couldn't figure it out. I like both sides.
Yeah.
I did a stint downtown too. First District Relief.
It's crazy. On the podcast with Daryl, I was just saying it's just so crazy how people from out west ain't been out south, and people from out south ain't been out west. And got different accents. It's crazy.
Right.
But we gotta get going. I didn't want to keep you for too long. Got just under an hour, so we could go on forever. And this is another one of those times where this might be a part 2 or come up and
we can
do
talk
it another
about
time.
The history of Chicago.
Yeah,
the history of the fire department.
Yeah, that's
pretty deep.
That's actually a podcast I'm trying to put together. It's a guy I know. He knows about just all kind of stuff, and he just retired too. So I'm gonna see if I can get him. Mike Burns.
Retired battalion chief.
Yeah.
He was, funny you say that, he was my officer at my first, basically at one of my first fires as a firefighter when I crossed over. On a variance. 10 degrees below zero, 2:30 in the morning on 19th and Pulaski. And lost my helmet. It was the worst fire I had in my career so far.
Oh, well, don't top it.
Exactly, right. Not compared to you. I mean, your story is,
you know what?
God,
I don't think
man.
I ever told that story on the podcast.
Really?
I'm not going to tell it today, so it'll be another time.
Yeah, man. Not compared to your story, but it was, I don't know if you know Dan Lynch. It was Dan Lynch and I.
Yeah.
And Romeo King.
Yep.
Romeo King was on squad too. He took that cross layer, and I was like, man, that fire was, it was. That'd be a part 2.
Yep.
We'll talk about a part 2.
We gonna
Mike
do
Burns
a just
cool and calm. Tell him I said hi.
a just history one. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, Antwan, thanks again for coming through.
Me.
Thank you. Thanks go all the way around. So, you have a great rest of your day. And for listeners, reach out, talk to us, send us messages any way you can by snail mail, by pigeon, by bird.
Telegraph.
We just telegraph. Do the dot system.
Right.
Yeah, Morse code. Reach out to us and let us know what you think, what you'd like to hear. Anything I can do better, anything I can do worse. Probably can't get any worse, but all right. With that being said, we'll talk to you later. Bye.